I recently passed the first part of the FTMO prop trading firm challenge. And this is essentially the hardest part of their qualification test. And I thought I would do a short video to share some tips and useful things that I encountered um, to see if anyone else would find these tips helpful. Um, so first, I'd recommend anyone who's new to the FTMO challenge to not rush and fully understand the rules before undertaking the challenge. Obviously, you want to read and understand the frequently asked questions. So they have a dedicated page on their website where they go into great detail about all the common questions. So you can go there and read that. I read through this page, and some of the important details that I picked up before I started the challenge were three things here. First of all, there is a daily loss limit condition part to the challenge, and that resets at midnight Central Eastern European time. So be sure to check what the time is in your local time zone so that you don't accidentally exceed the daily loss limits. Second, there are conditions where you can attempt a free repeat of this trial. So I think, yeah, if you don't meet the profit target, but you don't break any of the other rules around losses, you are able to attempt a free repeat after the 30 days. And third, there is also a 14-day extension policy. So be sure to read over that. But basically, it's also if you don't meet the profit target, but you are above 5% of the profits, and you haven't exceeded any of the losses, you are entitled to a 14-day extension to try and complete the second 5%. So yeah, be sure to check out their YouTube page as well. They've done a lot of videos covering the FAQs here. So that might be helpful for you to try and understand that. And for me, not only did I go over the FAQs, but I read the fine print of the terms and conditions as well. You can see them if you attempt to buy the challenge. You can see the terms and conditions presented on the first few steps, or you can go directly to their website, to their terms and conditions page, and find the relevant region to you. But some important details that I picked up while reading the fine print. So your 30 days of allotted time are after you place your first trade. If you don't place a trade within the first 30 days, your account will be suspended, but you can request reactivation within 6 months. So that automatically gives you a pretty big advantage in deciding when you want to start your FTMO challenge after you've paid for it. You essentially get 7 months of time to decide when you want to start. So yeah, definitely consider that. Consider when is the optimal market conditions when you want to start your 30 days to try and complete 10% of profit targets. If for any reason, if you're not able to dedicate time after buying the FTMO challenge, you can always come back within 7 months for the reactivation. So yeah, these conditions will be helpful, I think, if you are a swing trader like myself. If you're an intraday trader, 30 days should be plenty of time for you to complete the profit target. You should be able to find enough setups if you trade intraday. But if you are a swing trader or a position trader, 30 days is not a lot of time, and you have to kind of time the market so that it is trending within the period that they need you to complete all the goals. So yeah, definitely be very clear on all the rules and what the boundaries of the challenge are, so that not only do you not exceed them, but you can plan for yourself optimally in how to take this test. So this is just one section from their terms and conditions. I copy and pasted it here. You can pause the screen if you want to read it, but essentially the important points that I just talked about are highlighted here, and you can go read the full version for yourself on their website. Okay, so one other important point I thought to point out is that trading during a challenge period is not exactly like trading normally. It's kind of a game within a game. You are trading to make profits, but you also have certain goals you're trying to meet, and boundaries you're trying to stay within. So after you go through the FAQs and understand the rules properly, you will see that there are essentially 3 profit thresholds you'll be within at any point during the challenge. You cannot exceed 10% in losses, otherwise you automatically fail and you lose your entry fee that you paid to attempt the challenge. So if you're anywhere below 0% in profits, down to 10%, then yeah, you have to be aware and try to get yourself back to break even at least. So if you complete, if the 30 days pass and your profits are more than 0 but less than 5%, then you are entitled to a free repeat. If your profits are above 5% but less than 10% at the end of the 30 days, then you are entitled to a free 14-day extension to try and complete the rest of the profit targets. So with this in mind, try to understand when your profits are dead money in this challenge. So if you have less than a week or maybe just a couple days, then to complete the challenge, you need to assess where your profits are, to see what the closest goal you can attain is. If you're in losses, maybe you want to use the rest of your capital to take on more leverage, maybe put on bigger positions to at least try and put yourself back to break even. That way at least you can attempt again. If you are above 5%, then you have 5% of your account at least to risk on your last few trades to try and get the free extension. So yeah, I mean, when the 30 days are up, your profits in the past essentially don't matter. So I don't recommend anyone to trade this way. It's kind of gambling, but just for the purposes of passing this challenge, you could think about putting more on the line to try and make it past this threshold that you are at. So yeah, consider that when you are trading. Just make a plan for what you want to do, maybe with 2 weeks or 1 week left and you still haven't completed the challenge yet. Okay, and you want to identify your edge as a trader. This goes beyond just the FTMO challenge, but specifically in regards to trying to pass it, you want to try and look back in your previous trades, if you've been keeping a trading journal, to identify what markets or times of day you tend to trade well. Maybe you are not available during certain times of the day, or you just don't trade certain pairs well because they move in a way that don't fit your system. But maybe just do an analysis before you start the FTMO challenge to try and set yourself up in the best way as possible. And I don't recommend you try to change your schedule just to be able to trade more to pass the test. For one, it's not a long-term viable solution. I mean, if someone's just gave you some money to trade from FTMO, there's not really a purpose in changing your schedule to a way that you can't trade long term. So I don't recommend, staying up too late to try and monitor the market because you think something might happen in that time. Just try to trade however you've been successful in the past. Um, and I would say try to make the markets fit your strategy, not your strategy to fit the markets. So if you have been trading a strategy, don't try to trade it, change it just to trade the market dynamics that are happening at the time. It's better just to either not pursue those trades or take your break evens when you can and take your free repeat to hopefully encounter better, more favorable situations in the future. And this next point is kind of important for the trader's psychology. You want to try and position your first trade to be a winner. This helps you out immensely in terms of psychology so that you are in the habit of trading well for future trades during the challenge period. It creates a buffer for future drawdowns. So let's say your first trade, you win 1 or 2%. That's fine. It doesn't have to be a huge winner, but that automatically gives you an extra 1 or 2% on top of the existing 10% limitation. So you can have 12% losses instead of 10. And yeah, as I mentioned before, the trader has a huge advantage before placing the first trade during the challenge series. You can pick exactly when you want to start the 30 days of the challenge. So my recommendation is not to initiate the challenge just based on gut feeling or however you're feeling at the time, but really pick the most favorable setups to try and pursue to start your 30 days. Maybe even don't go for not as favorable setups, even though you think you have an edge. Maybe don't start your challenge based off of those. And lastly, don't get discouraged by losses. It's natural that your trading system might just go into a drawdown period during the 30 days of challenge. But don't deviate. Don't try to make up a new system or adjust on the fly. You just won't have the confidence or the backtesting data to know that it will do well. Just stick with your trading system, even if it's small losses. Go for those. If you can get break evens, go for those. And then, it actually happened to me. I had somewhat of a drawdown in my second attempt, but I just kept trading the way I planned to trade. And which is one day it more than paid itself back and put me into passing the challenge. So yeah, definitely don't try to change anything. In the end, remember FTMO wants you to pass as well. Their business is finding profitable and consistent traders to start a business partnership with, and that's how you should treat prop firm trading. It's a business partnership. They are bringing you the capital. You are bringing your skills to be able to grow that reliably. And I have to say, the rules FTMO puts forward, both in terms of their challenge and for their funded traders, is quite generous as long as you control the risk. If you look at the rules, 2 of them are about risk management, and only 1 of them stipulates what profit target you have to achieve. So automatically you know that this firm puts more emphasis on you not losing money rather than making money. And that's quite true for all the prop firms out there. As an example, even if you were just to make 1% return per month consistently, that would compound over 12 months to be a 12.68% return per year. And that is already considerably higher than the US Fed funds rate. So anyone who can make 1% a month reliably, FTMO would be interested to fund them. But obviously, they don't just want to see people who can make 1% return a month. They want to see that traders have the capability to make much more if the right market conditions present themselves. So that's kind of how they set up their challenge. You don't really get penalized for not making the profit target. You are always allowed to repeat until you do get your really profitable month. So that's how you should trade as well during the 30-day period. Yeah, start as early as you feel you are consistent in your own trading. Maybe you don't make 10 or 5% every month, but maybe you've been paper trading or trading a small account, and you can show, at least through your own history, you tend not to lose. Even if you make 0.5%, 1%, that's fine. But maybe eventually go for making more, but you got to start off by making a goal to not lose money. And I'll give my own FTMO challenge attempts as an example. So I didn't just decide to start FTMO whenever I felt like it. I was actually trading for 6 to 7 months already, and for my entire history in 2022, I've never had a losing month. So unless something out of the ordinary were to happen, I was pretty confident that I would not lose my entry fee during the FTMO challenge. There have been a couple months in 2022 where I posted near 10% or over 10% returns. It can't be every month. In fact, I don't know when it's going to come, but I do know that I tend not to lose, and eventually I will get a huge return month. So that was the basis on when I decided to start my FTMO challenge. And furthermore, I also picked a point in time where I had a couple of consecutive losing trades in my paper trading account from when the markets were not trending so much. So I was paper trading this entire year, basically, and I was ready to take the FTMO challenge. I was just trying to pick the precise date to purchase and start it. I remember I even purchased it over the weekend to give myself the maximum trading days in the 30-day period. And I also picked a period where I was having drawdowns, because statistically, if I had many drawdowns, I would be more likely to have a winner in my next trade. So I was setting up the FTMO 30 days to start at my most optimal moment. So yeah, I hope you found some of these tips helpful if you are thinking about trading for FTMO and attempting their challenge. And you don't have to pass it in one go. There's always free reattempts, and there's no reason why you can't repurchase another FTMO challenge. It's not very much money for the amount of capital that you can potentially get access to. So maybe just keep 2 or 3 buy-ins in your savings, and that way you won't feel pressured to pass on the first attempt. And even if you lose your buy-in, you can always try again. And then once you do become a funded trader, making that money back will be just a matter of time.